Damn, I didn't even see him. Thank you, bro. What the fuck? That's fucked up.
Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with another video. If you guys are new to the channel and you love shooting games just like me, make sure you aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates and it'll reduce your skill-based matchmaking because we all know we need that kind of work in our lives. Anywho's, are you a type A personality kind of guy or gal? Do you consider yourself a brilliant tactician like Irvin Rommel, General Patton, or even Armin from Attack on Titan, but you also like to be in the action at the same time? Do you enjoy leadership or agency on the battlefield? And most importantly, do you want to be more than a cog in the machine and actually have a huge impact on whether your team wins or not? Then enter the officer class and prepare to guide your teammates to victory. To all my new players out there, or to anybody who doesn't want to read that fat ass field manual as soon as they load the game up, before I tell you why I think the officer class is one of the most amazing classes to play in the game, I should also tell you what the responsibilities are and how you should play the class, because I wouldn't necessarily call it a walk in the park per se, but it is a lot of fun if you know what you're doing. Essentially, when you pick this role, you are becoming a big factor in regards to whether your team is having a good time or not. This is evident since you have the ability to place spawn points for your squad by using Outposts, or you can place spawn points for the entire team provided you have the supplies to make a garrison. Most people who have anything negative to say about this game complain that it is somewhat of a running simulator. 9 times out of 10, the culprit of this complaint is the result of a squad leader who didn't put down outposts often enough, if at all. All that being said, I would argue that one of the most important things for you to do as a squad leader is pull out your watch whenever you get a chance and put down another outpost or garrison so your squad and teammates have good spots to spawn at. Since this is your responsibility, it is also subsequently important that you stay alive as long as possible, because if you die, then nobody's up there to put down the outpost for your team to spawn at, and everybody's running from the home base, which I guess at that point no one's having a good time unless you have transport vehicles. Along with providing a spawn location for your teammates, another reason it's important to stay alive is because it's also up to you, along with the other squad leaders, to provide information to the team overall by using your map and binoculars to put down marks. These marks can include a variety of things like telling your squad where to go, marking an enemy tank, requesting artillery in a certain spot, so on and so forth. Of course, when you actually put down these marks, you want to use your microphone at the same time and notify your team and squad audibly as well as visually with these map markings. As a side note, I honestly believe that you shouldn't even be playing squad leader if you don't have your mic in and you're actively using it, because you won't be able to effectively communicate with your squad, your commander, or any of the other officers in the game. Of course, you can, type out whatever's going on in the text chat, but I don't find this nearly as efficient as using your voice. Imagine if it was still 1944 and we had to hop into Willie's Jeep and drive all the way back to base to send a message to the commander or any of the other squad leaders or our allies in general. It would be kind of trash. So, since we're allowed to use a mic in this game, I definitely recommend using a mic at all times. The last and most overlooked responsibility of a squad leader, in my personal opinion, is keeping up the morale of your squad. I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence that a happy, talkative, and likable leader can get more production out of his workers than a leader that is showing the inverse of those qualities. Obviously, the same concept applies on the battlefield, and I find that when you're throwing out some positive reinforcement here and there, that your squad mates will definitely listen and respect you more. 90% of the time, I would argue that the people in this community are super nice and very cool to talk to and very cooperative, considering that's the whole nature of the game. Especially when they see that your tactics are bringing the team success, they'll be more likely to actually listen to any suggestions that you have. Once you're fulfilling all the obligations of a squad lead at a decent rate, it makes it really easy to understand why I have so much fun playing this role and why it's one of my highest ranked roles as well. One thing that I should also mention is the versatility of the loadout. As a low ranking officer, most of your combat capabilities are going to be close quarters, since you're starting off with a submachine gun. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but obviously you will need to rank up to get access to the rifles, which can improve the range at which you can effectively engage targets. Another great thing about this class is the access to fragmentation and smoke grenades simultaneously. Frags are obviously good for clearing out clusters of enemies in trenches or buildings, or at the very least forcing someone from cover. Smokes are good for getting yourself and team across open ground and pushing the enemy under concealment, and should be used as strategically as the placements of your outposts so as to not be easily spotted. Another thing that I did want to point out is that as a squad leader, you can't really be bashful about asking for the things that you need. Of course, no team can function without a leader, but in the same respect, a body isn't really much any good without any legs, the same way most squads are not really good without a support or anti-tank player. Most roles have their specific times to shine, but if you see a situation that's arising and calls for another role that you don't see anybody in your squad is fulfilling, ask nicely for one of your squad mates to switch to what you need if it's for the greater good. I'm sure they will understand. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, the officer class obviously shines the most when it comes to having the most control or effect over a situation. One of the best feelings I can describe to you while playing this game is seeing that your team is in a tough spot and then you using your brain and or squad mates to overcome that situation. For example, you see a frontal assault on an enemy position is not working. Don't keep bashing your head against the wall of machine gun fire. Sneak your way around the back, rally your squad within outposts, and pull off that main flank while destroying enemy outposts and garrisons in the process. See an enemy tank? Mark it for your friendly armor or artillery so they can destroy it. Spotted an enemy garrison from afar? Mark it for your squad, order your machine gunner to suppress, and order your bazooka guy to shoot it from afar. Then boom, enemy garrison down, less enemies all around, I always say. Oh, and let's not forget, if you see your team getting bottlenecked, take your support player and go to an open part of the map that is still in the blue zone so you can make a new garrison and open up a new front for the entire team instead of, running down one certain part of the map and getting funneled by MG42s or what have you. Think outside the box. Oh, and let's not forget, one of the best things you can do for your commander is mark large groups of enemies for a bombing run, which is one of my favorite things to do anyway. There are plenty of things that can affect whether you win or lose, and all of these things are not related to how good you can aim, which is one of the things that I can really appreciate about this game. With multiple squad leaders following these principles, and of course being mentally flexible, it's not hard to get good map control and thus win the game and have a good time while you're doing it. Another thing that I did want to talk to you guys about when it comes to playing squad leader in this game is how much it reminds me of playing this very old World War II game called Brothers in Arms. And obviously it has not been released in years and years for whatever reason, but for anybody who doesn't know, in that game essentially you have to play a squad leader, and it's the same concept. You use your team, which is consisting of machine gunners, riflemen, anti-tank players. You basically use all kinds of roles to, basically outmaneuver your enemy and win the mission, whatever that may be. The only difference between Brothers in Arms and this game is that instead of commanding AI, you're actually over here commanding actual people, which makes it, I guess sometimes less strenuous of a task because, people can be more responsive and you can tell them more specific things to do as opposed to pointing and clicking with an AI and a button. The reason I even mention anything about Brothers in Arms is because there are very few World War II games out there that reward you for having good teamwork and strategy skills, and Brothers in Arms was definitely one of those games. So since this game doesn't come out anymore and I now have Hell Let Loose, and it still lets me assume command of a squad, it's basically scratching that itch that has not been scratched for me in a long time, specifically when it comes to playing squad lead. I know there's a lot of other elements in this game that are not related to Brothers in Arms at all, but that was definitely one of the things that I really enjoyed. It's just, assuming command of a squad and leading them to victory the best way I can through a good tactician and, good aim and stuff like that. But I did want to know, what do you guys think about playing squad leader in Hell Let Loose? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you avoid it altogether? Have you even tried it yet? Maybe you avoid it because you don't want to get yelled at by teammates for, I guess not putting up garrisons or outposts or making quote unquote bad decisions. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's definitely something that everybody should try, or at least take the time to learn how to get good at, because the more, or I guess the better squad leaders we have in the game, the better games we can have overall. But other than that, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I appreciate you for tuning in and watching. If you enjoyed or find any of that entertaining or insightful, feel free to shoot that like button and aim for that subscribe button as well. I appreciate y'all for watching again, and I hope you all have a lovely day. black guy out.
That person's super